Crazy story time about how my mom kidnapped my sister. So my mom and dad split whenever I was really young. And at this time, they were always in and out of court battling for custody over my sister and I. Well, the one day my dad drives my mom downtown to the courthouse because she didn't have a ride. And before she gets out of the car, she's like, "Can I give the girls a hug?" And my dad was like, "Yeah, go ahead." Little background information. I was more of a daddy's girl. My sister was more of a mommy's girl, which is probably the reason why she took her. I was sitting by the window, my sister was sitting in the middle seat. So she gives me a hug. Next thing I know, my sister's seatbelt was unbuckled and my mom was running across the street with her in the middle of downtown. Didn't even look for cars. So my dad got out of the car, ran over, grabbed her, picked both of them up, and walked over to the sidewalk, and my mom was screaming bloody murder. So this guy called the cops, and my dad was trying to show them custody papers because he had full custody. But the cop knew my mom, so he let her take my sister. We got her back, but I didn't see this bitch for like 4 months. Toxic best friend story time. So I had an off and on friendship with this one girl. In my freshman year, we became friends again. And she had this boyfriend named Nicholas. And they literally fought 24/7. And every time she would fight, she would be like, "Can you please fix this for me?" So she would have me add him on Snapchat, fix it, and then block him. And guys, this literally was happening like 5 times a week. And then after she asked me to do that the first few times, I realized she started going through my phone. And when I say my phone, I mean my whole motherfucking phone. A bitch was going through my Snapchats, DMs, text messages, and I didn't know how to confront her because that's just weird. So the one day I was getting ready at her house because we were about to go out, and she was like, "I'm grounded, can I use your phone real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, just let me Snapchat this last person back." And she goes, "No," and rips the phone out of my hand. And she starts going through my Snapchat right in front of me. And I had a streak with this kid named Nick. She goes up to me and says, "What the fuck is this?" Like for part 2. Okay guys, I'm making the part 2 right now and I'm literally laying in bed. I took off my makeup and you guys have to realize that I literally do these videos at like 10 o'clock at night and they get posted at like 1 in the morning and then I go to bed at like 2. And for all of you commenting I'm clout chasing, bro, chill out. It's been like 3 hours. So anyway, she comes up to me and shoves the phone in my face and goes, "Who the fuck is this?" And I literally looked at her and started laughing my ass off. And she was like, "What the fuck is so funny, Kaylee, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Go ahead, hold on the name." And she held on the name and realized it wasn't her fucking boyfriend. So I packed up my things while she literally went and sat on her bed and started crying. She was like, "I don't want to lose my best friend." So fast forward, her and her boyfriend broke up. Her and I weren't friends anymore. And then she would always try to accuse me of getting with him. Moral of the story, don't get involved in other people's relationships. Bye guys. Story time about how my sister and I almost got beat up by a 40-year-old man. So there was this one girl who would bully my sister and I on the bus in elementary school. Well, one day we told the principal and the principal called her dad. And she made up this whole story about the only reason why she did it to us was because we were bullying her. So the next day, after we told the principal, her dad was at the bus stop. And he comes up to us, taps us both on the shoulder, and says, "If you guys ever bully my daughter again, I will hold you down while me, her, and her sister beat the shit out of you guys." So we got to the school that day and we called our dad. We told him what happened, but he was kind of questioning it. Until our neighbor actually walked up to our house and knocked on the door and told my dad. And I guess at the bus stop, everybody kind of looked at the guy like, "Are you fucking crazy?" Because my dad at the time was a bodybuilder. And he was like, "What the fuck is he gonna do?" Like for part 2. Part 2, because I don't want y'all to get mad at me again. And by the way, for everybody asking for that part 2, it is already posted. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm not saying that because my dad's a bodybuilder that like he could kick his ass. It's just like you don't mess with, you know, a dad's kid, like girls, especially when we were as girls. So he called the school. We ended up going to court, and my dad like at court was literally like, "If you ever lay a hand on my daughters again or like threaten my daughters like that, I will literally kill you." The judge yelled at my dad for that. And then he had to apologize to us, and because basically like he threatened us, and then like he got in trouble a little bit more for that, and like they did some other stuff that I don't really remember. But he wasn't allowed near us. He wasn't allowed to go to the bus stop anymore. He wasn't allowed near the school. If we were at the school, like it was traumatizing. Like Anyways, thank you guys so much for 700, almost 700,000. I love you guys, and that is part 2. Story time, the biggest lie I ever got away with as a teenager. So my sister and I were going to spend the weekend at my stepdad's, and I asked my parents if I could bring a friend. My dad said he didn't care, and my stepmom said no. And my parents were really strict. But obviously I did not listen. So I invited my friend, and her parents were also really strict. So we came up with this elaborate plan that I would ask her parents and tell them that it was a surprise for her. And they believed it. So the day comes whenever we're supposed to leave to go up to my stepdad's. So, we get off the bus, walk to my house, and my stepmom was asleep because she worked night shifts. So I was able to sneak my friend through the house to my bedroom. Little did she know she was going to have to hide in the closet. So my stepmom came in and needed to borrow a pair of socks for work. And I was literally guarding the closet with my life. And she goes, "Get away from the closet, you're acting so suspicious. What's in there?" Like for part 2, by the way, Stacy and Candace, if you see this, my bad. Okay, part 2, sorry for keeping you guys waiting. So she literally pushes me out of the way, goes and looks in the closet, and stands there for a whole ass minute. And me, I'm over here having an anxiety attack. My sister's looking at me, making like hand gestures, basically saying, "What is she looking at?" And I'm literally sitting there, and I get to peek in the closet, and my friend is not there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where did she go? And then she starts moving things around in the closet. So she didn't see anything, and she goes to walk out of my room, and she goes, "You guys are so weird." And I run over to the closet like, where the fuck is she? And she pops out of this box that is literally in plain sight and goes, "Is she gone yet?" And trust me, I know this doesn't sound like a big thing to get away with, but whenever you have strict parents and they're looking for somebody in literally a 5-foot space, oh honey. This was a big deal for me. And tonight is going to be the night that my stepmom actually sees this. Toxic ex-boyfriend part 2. So pretty much I got into an argument with him after that, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, "I just don't want you to be surprised." Well, me being the stupid dumb fucking bitch that I am, left it at that and didn't end the relationship there. This is the definition of ignoring all red flags. So I started to wonder who all these ex-girlfriends were, and since I wasn't from around where he lived, I had to do a whole fucking FBI investigation to find at least one of these exes. She was like, "Oh, he literally does that to every girl," and then told me all the tea about how her and all of his 9 exes were actually best friends, and that he was the one who actually cheated on all of them with each other. And she goes, "I didn't even know you guys were dating. He never told anybody up here." Because he was hooking up with other bitches up there. I ended up breaking up with him, but ladies, take notes. This is a red flag. Story time of one of my many embarrassing moments in high school. So my sophomore year, I was talking to this guy, and we had been talking for 4 months, and he didn't want to date me. I didn't know that until one of his friends said, "Oh yeah, he's just using you to do stuff." And I'm surprised he let it drag on for 4 months because I didn't do anything with him. But now looking back at it, he would always ask me to come over when his parents weren't home. So anyways, I really liked him. He broke my heart, and yeah. So the next day I had school, and I had a class with him. And all of his friends were in that class too. And I planned on ignoring everybody and just keeping my headphones in. Well, one of his friends asked me if I was okay. Bad idea. The waterworks started, and I started sobbing in class in front of everybody. I felt so bad for him. He just asked if I was okay. And guys, everybody was staring at me. It was so bad I had to be removed from class. Toxic best friend story time. And no, this is not the same one. I know I have bad choice in best friends. Do not come at me. So a few summers ago, I was single, and I was talking to 2 boys. One that I had been talking to for months, but I didn't know if he liked me because I kind of got more of best friend vibes. And the other one I was talking to for not that long, but he was kind of a douche. So, who did I tell about these 2 boys? No other than my best friend. Well, this girl took it upon herself to text the guy that I was talking to for months and say, "You're just her backup plan." And she was the type of girl that would talk shit on other girls to guys that they liked. to get the guy's attention. So he told me that she said that, and I confronted her about it. She goes, I just don't think it was right you were doing that to him. Meanwhile, she was talking to this boy that she really liked, but fucking other people. We were not able to bounce back after that. Story time about how I actually got away with sneaking out. It was the summer before my junior year in high school. So my sister and my friend were sleeping at my house. And I didn't live with my parents at this time. Well, 2 a.m. rolls around and we get a text from our friend. And he goes, oh, do you want to come to my party right now? And we really wanted to go, so we had to come up with this elaborate plan on how we were going to get out of my house and get back in. Because we had to worry about a dog who freaks out every time someone leaves and comes back, motion-censored lights, adults waking up at 4:30 in the morning. And I was on the first floor of the house, thank God. So I had my sister put the dog in the bedroom so that way he wouldn't bark whenever we left. And my sister really took one for the team here. And then I told her whenever they wake up, let the dog back out of the room and lock the door, just in case they came to check in on us. So we called an Uber and bolted out of my house. Like for part 2. Okay guys, sneaking out part 2. And for all of you saying like, oh, why'd you have to sneak out if you weren't living at your parents'? I lived at my grandparents' house and they are strict as hell. Anyways, so we're at the party and we're having a great time, and I look at my phone and I realize that it's 4 o'clock. And they wake up at 4:30 a.m. So we ordered an Uber and we had the guy drop us off down the street. So we're walking down the street and we finally get to my neighbor's house. And we could see all the lights were on in my house. And my sister's been texting me the whole time, basically saying, oh, they're awake, I hear them, OMG, like, you better hurry up. And I'm texting her, like, get the dog in the room, because he would have barked loud as hell if he saw us. And I forget if it was me or her, but one of us had to pee really bad and peed somewhere. So we're basically on our stomachs crawling back to my house through my yard, so that way none of the motion-censored lights come on. And one of them came on, and the windows don't really have curtains, so I could see my path, like, looking outside the window. Oh, there's gonna be a part 3. Okay, part 3, but for all the new people, guys, stop telling me to post the part 2 because I always post my part 2s. Okay, so the motion-censored light comes on, and we literally stop dead in our tracks. Meanwhile, we're literally laying in the grass, like, just don't even know what to do. And there's this side door that we were going to go through. So my sister put the dog in the room and we're just waiting for the techs to run in the house when they're both upstairs. But my pap was looking outside trying to figure out why the light went on. And then I hear him say, oh, it must have just been a deer. So my sister finally texts us like 5 minutes later that, they're both upstairs. And I waited so I couldn't see them in the window anymore. And we bolted in the house. And I ran in the bedroom and we both smelled disgusting because we were both laying on the grass outside. When we get in, we lock the door so that way we can change our clothes, act like we're going to sleep, and then unlock the door. And my grandma comes down literally 10 minutes later to check on us. Like if you want more stories on me sneaking out.